Hello everyone, Alzion the Great here. Welcome back, and welcome to Season 4 of League of Legends Manager on MOBA GM. Last year was not fun for SIG, although we did start getting more competitive towards the end of the season. We still only went 1-21. This has basically led to SI Gaming being the only team to have less than 20 wins. We have 2. So, yeah, safe to say we are the worst team this thing has ever seen. However, last off-season was very good for us, as if you look at our roster, we signed the number 2 prospect in the last draft class, same as Shaba last year. We signed Mark Netherrose Hill in the mid lane to take over for Kirchhoff as he left the team. Also, we signed Klee Deli Vanderwink, a guy who has 27 wins in history in his 2 years at Quantum, so he has more wins than the entire organization does. So hopefully he can get us some more. But also, before we start, there's a couple things I want to just share that I think were interesting, mainly from last year's off-season. First off, we all know Deli left Quantum. They have promoted R1, and keep in mind, Quantum in the season that they went to the finals, R1 was the starting support. They also signed the 7th ranked prospect from the 2020 class in Dream in the jungle. And one of the least expected guys to jump up in this last draft class, Cole, also got signed and should start at AD carry over the number 1 prospect in Sun Metal. So we'll see how Quantum does, but very excited to see not only Dream but Cole play, as well as the return of R1. The next team I want to look at is the Aether Wolves. Obviously, Aether Wolves had a pretty good year last year with the good performance from Corvin, who went up 8 overall points. They now have the 2nd best player in the league, as Ken Bell, iMain, has jumped up to 90 overall. He was the 14th ranked prospect in 2019, and the 14th ranked prospect in 2020, Sandy, just got signed to Aether Wolves, so he will make his debut, and it will be very, very cool to see him. Also, Ollivander could start, but you never know. He was a kind of middle to low prospect in this last draft class. I didn't write down specifically who he was, but yeah, we'll see him maybe. And I think the biggest moves of the offseason were made by Crimson Moon Esports. Although they only brought in 2 players, one of them was the best player in the league in Mike Sanny Garrett. The best top laner in the league joins Crimson Moon. And also, I think worth noting, they also signed Kirchhoff. He is in the mid lane. It's only a 1-year deal, but I think there is a pretty good chance Kirchhoff actually starts this season. I mean, he's only, 3 overall points below NYT, and he has more traits, so if Crimson Moon's looking for a title, they could very well start Kirchhoff, although previous experience would, I guess if you're going off previous performance, Kirchhoff would not be the guy to start. But, yeah. Excuse me. If you look at the power rankings, SI Gaming is not 11th or 12th. We are 9th. And pretty much, I'm expecting us to go like 5 wins or something. More than 2. I want more than 2 wins. That's all I want, is more than 2. We're obviously looking at Crimson Moon potentially winning the title, but I think the 207 Shock will be on for a repeat. Obviously, they won last year. Spincy got slightly worse, Rap got slightly better, Shone, Rookie of the Year and Finals MVP, got slightly better. Cowboy got slightly worse, and they will be starting, hopefully, Rocker at 80 carry over Disc, even despite his performance last year. I think it's time for Rocker to take over. Keep in mind, Rocker was the second prospect from that first draft class, number 2 prospect, to our Tornado. Speaking of our team, Sowers and Tornado, pretty much the 2 guys that I've had full confidence in these last 3 years are both hitting free agency after this season. So we need to succeed this season if we want to keep Tornado, and mainly Sowers, because I think he is what separates us from the bottom of the league. Is that we have a lot of good players, and then we have a top 5 top laner in Sowers. And that's not like me saying anything. If we actually go to the player ratings here and go to top, he is the 5th best top laner in the league. Which, to be fair, the top lane is pretty stacked. But he's still a top 5 top laner, so you can't deny that. Go into the regular season, which doesn't really do much. We can look at the champion, the patch, I guess it would be. Fiora and Wukong dominate the top lane. There's actually bad picks in this meta, so hopefully the AI will not select them. The jungle is pretty big. Gragas is really good at jungle and support. Warwick and Jin Zhao are also there. Also Elise, Evelyn, Tiger, and all that good stuff. In the mid lane, it is LeBlanc and Morgana. At 80 carry, Jinx is your best. And actually, it's a pretty not good 80 carry. There's only 5 truly like better than average 80 carries right now. And support is kind of wide open with Gragas, Lux, and Morgana also available. So wide open here. So we're gonna get into this season. Before we do, I mean, there's always the potential that we do that. I don't think we're gonna do great this year. I just think, 5 wins is kind of reasonable, and not. I overestimated last year. I completely overestimated us last year, and we only won a single game, so I'm not gonna overestimate us this year. I can't really see me benching a whole bunch of people if stuff goes wrong, because really only Flipper, CJL, and Excalibur I think I'd even consider. But it's Excalibur, yeah, I'm probably going to do that. I mean, he did get us our win last year, when he came in. But I am expecting us to do better. But if Nether Rose isn't, then Excalibur will certainly be an option to put on the roster. I doubt we'll put up CJL because it is Tornado in a contract year, and I don't want to lose him. And the same thing goes with Flipper, except that I just signed Deli, and I really don't think it would make sense to bench him, even if we're doing that. So, 8 minutes of introduction. I think it is time to look at the schedule. We will face off against Excalibur, Crimson Moon, Primal, Crystal, and Excalibur again. I'd say let's just sim these first 5 games, and then see where we stand in the first 5 games. So, game log, and let's go. We do lose our first game to Excalibur, although Nether Rose debut was 3-3-1 on the Diana. And keep in mind, Excalibur is not expected to be a really good team this season. So, if this is what we're doing against what is projected to be the worst team in terms of the power rankings, we might be in a little bit more trouble, and I don't even know if we can get 5 wins. But hey, it's only the first game. Keep simming. We do lose, although the fact that we lost in 4-8 fashion to what is projected to be the best team in the league, I think it's okay. Although Deli is not having a good time to start the season. Although to be fair, it is the best team in the league. So let's keep simming. We lose with even more towers to Primal, as Tornado's Aphelios did pretty good. We still haven't won, without him on Lucian. Yeah, the team is not doing good to start the season with Suga, the rookie mid laner who just got signed. 12-1-7 on Katarina. So, yeah. And we lose 4-10 to Crystal. As Tower's 0-8 on Olaf. We are just not doing anything against these teams right now. SI Gaming still only 2 wins in history. And we finally get our third. As we do win, Tornado gets a win on something other than Lucian. As finally we have an all-out good game from everyone. We beat Excalibur in the rematch. So Netherrose gets his first win. And we have 3 wins as an organization now, which is not very fun. But, you know, at least it's better than last year. Here are the standings right now. Jade Crown's actually 0-5. Quantum is 1-4. Obviously, we are 1-4 as well. Crimson Moon and Crystal have taken the league by storm as a 207 Shock. 2-3. So I don't know. Maybe Crimson Moon was the best team coming out of the preseason. Here is how we have performed. Tornado's got his highest KDA I've ever seen on the team at 2.3. So, I mean, we're doing something, right? I doubt we're in the league leaders. Tornado's 6th in CS. So there you go. We are leading, or at least we have a pretty good player in Tornado this season. We'll stock 16.2 assists. If he keeps that up, the Hall of Fame probably. So Quantum is 1-4. I think I'm gonna draft these next 3 games, and then I wanna draft these next 2 games. Let's just do that first. We're gonna go up against. The first game is against the 1-4 Quantum roster, who is actually starting BNX in the top lane over Stakir, and they're also starting Kronos over Arwan. So, a couple of AI issues there. It's pretty much just Monte trying to carry the team alongside Cole. So, we know why Quantum's 1-4. They're not starting their best player. And this is a bug in the game, and I can't really do much about it. But, we're going to draft. I think we're going to change our coach options, because we do have that. Let's try to focus less in top lane. I want to focus more in the mid lane this season. Because obviously I didn't change the coach options pre those first 4 games. So, you know what? Actually, let's sim this game against Quantum. And then I'll, where's this game? Sim the game against Quantum, and then we'll draft the last 3. With this new game plan in. We have a win streak for the first time ever. We win. Netherrose 8-1-8 on Annie. Tornado played Yasuo for some reason and succeeded in Devane Morgana, but it worked out. Netherrose carried on Annie though, and that's good to see. But hey, SI Gaming is not looking like the worst team this year. We may get the wins. As here we are 2-4. We're actually competing for a playoff spot at this point, but yeah. So we have the schedule upcoming. Our next game is against the defending champs 207 Shock, who are indeed starting Rocker, but are not getting off to the start that they wanted. They are 2-4. So I'm gonna go draft against them real quick, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. We are on red side. Hopefully we can get counterpicking. Let's see. So, here is the first draft. For my first draft this year, I decided to ban Jin Zhao, Gragas, and Morgana. 207 banned Evelyn, Warwick, and Wukong. First picking Tristana, I decided to pick Jinx, who does fine into Tristana and is like the best AD carry right now. Also picked Renekton, they picked Kayle Cassiopeia. Renekton will go mid as I'll lock in Mordekaiser, counter Tristana, because Mordekaiser counters basically every AD carry in the game, and does fine into Kayle. I banned Lee Sin and Nocturne, they banned Rek'Sai and Nidalee, so the jungle was really pinched in this game. They picked Jack's brand after I picked Lux, and I chose Elise, the Elise Renekton combo in the mid lane. So let's see how it works. Of course we lose while I draft. Rap went 6-0 and 7 on the Jacks, and Shone 9-1 and 6 on Cassiopeia. So Crimson Moon 2-0 over us. As, for some reason, the best bot lane duo you could come up with in this meta just failed. I don't get it. But you know what? We suck. That's why. So our next draft, we're also on red side against Jade Crown. Since I'm a little bit low on time, I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 drafts here. We are facing off against Jade Crown Gaming, who did get their first win in the last game. So hey, we're not going to be a first win for them. They're starting Type 0 still in the top lane. They just signed Bachbrins this year. He's a top jungle prospect. He was like 8 or 9, along with Dream in his draft class. Phoenix is also there. I think he was like the 3rd prospect or something in the previous class, the 3rd best prospect. So they're kind of looking for the future, but not winning now. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and draft this and the other game, and then I'll recap them both. So everyone, the 2 games are over, and surprisingly, SIG went 1-1. I actually won by drafting a game. In the first one against Jade Crown, it was Jinjiao, Morgana, LeBlanc for me, Gragas, Evelyn, LeBlanc for me, and then Jinjiao, oh my gosh, I'm losing my crap. I banned Gragas, Morgana, and LeBlanc. Jade Crown banned Jinjiao, Evelyn, and Vi. If I'm correct, they first picked Warwick. I locked in Elise Renekton. They locked in Kayle Jinx. So I locked in Xayah, then banned out Lux and Kiana. They banned out Jace and Cassio. And then I picked Xayah, they picked Trundle and Rise, and I picked Braum. The game went out as follows. We got pretty much crushed by Jade Crown. The second game, however, this time I was making sure that I banned Kayle, regardless of what Quantum banned. I banned Kayle, Morgana, and Warwick. They banned Gragas, Evelyn, and Jinjiao. They first picked Lux. Yeah, they first picked Lux, I think. Yeah, they first picked Lux. So I locked in Leona, Renekton. They countered with Kennen Jinx. So I locked in Nasus. Then we went to the bans where I banned Kiana and Wukong. They banned Nocturne and Pantheon. I picked Xayah. And then they picked Syndra Graves. Locked in Ivern. We got a win! Finally! We have a win where I actually did the drafting, and I'm really happy. As Netherrose 9, 1, and 8 on Renekton. I knew it would work eventually. It just had to. We take down Quantum, and now SI sits at 3 and 6. We're 3/5 of the way to our goal of winning 5 games. And interestingly enough, we're still in the playoff hunt, I'd like to think. Although I'm not really thinking about playoffs this season. But right now, Crimson Moon sits at 7-1. Crimson Moon sits at 8-1. Crystal is half a game behind at 7-1. The Imperium Aces are at 7-2. While the Aether Wolves are 6-3. Everyone else under 500, which includes the Paladin and the 207 Shock. So shocking developments, but hey, we're not 0-9 to start the season. Let's go. Here are your league leaders right now. Tornado is number 8 in CS, and it looks like Royal Set and Dualsock will be competing to break Milikas's record of 13.4 assists per game. But yeah, we're not doing terrible. Here's where we sit already in the season. No extraordinary KDAs, but the highest is Nether Rose, and that's what I want to see. But I'd like to thank you all for watching. It was also great, and I will see you all next time.